Hi, everybody, and welcome to my channel, David's Daily Message. I've put a few videos up right now and kind of been doing it a topic for every day as best as I can. My first topic was faith versus blind faith. My second topic was grace, and today we're going to talk about joy. So, what is joy? I guess it's such a small word with a huge meaning when it comes to the Bible and the life of a Christian. Joy. If we look at James 1, verse 2 through 3, it states right here, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness." So, what I really want to talk about today when it comes to joy is how to find that joy in the midst of trials or hardship or tough times, whatever you want to call it. How do we find that joy? Well, there's a lot of different ways that we can find it, but there's only one true way to actually have it. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So, as we talk about the word joy, I guess a good way to explain it, the way that I want to explain it in this video, is the process of learning to respond with joy begins by knowing God is at work in our lives and always has a purpose that is tangible while in the midst of trials. So, no matter what we are going through, throughout whatever it is we're going through, it could be financial hardship, it could be the loss of a family member, it could be a sickness that you just randomly got, it could be a number of different things. But how do we find joy when everything seems to be going south in our life? How can we find joy? I mean, that's a good question. That's why I'm talking about it today. So, as we're going through these trials or tests, what's the purpose of them? What do you think the purpose of them is? Was it just because God can do it and He's just going to challenge us to do it? Or is it because God wants to do it to better us as Christians? Or how do we expand on that? I mean, every trial that I've gone through, which has been a lot in my life, it might not seem like it. I've never had an issue with like depression or anxiety or anything like that, but I've been through some hard times. I mean, I was married at 21 and I got divorced in a year. I mean, that's an interesting trial. I I mean, I was with her for 5 years. So I popped the question and got married, and then it didn't last. So in the midst of that trial, I was still trying to work things out. It didn't happen. So I finally just I wouldn't necessarily say gave up, but I finally just accepted it and realized that this wasn't what God wanted for me. I mean, this wasn't what He would. I mean, it was all part of His plan, but it's not what my purpose was. So I'm done with that. So, and then I mean, there's so many that I can think of. And surprisingly, every single time that I've had one of those, I have always found the strength to find the joy and how to deal with that. I take it as a learning experience. That's what it is. That's what trials are. They're learning experiences. Another example for me would be my wife, Heidi, who had two miscarriages in a row. I mean, we had two boys before they happened, but then we were trying for I don't even know how long, And then the first one, she got pregnant, so we got all excited. And then we lost it. And then we got pregnant again. And then we lost that one. And then that was hard. That was hard for both of us. And now we decided to go for it again. And God blessed us with a beautiful daughter. Like, a beautiful daughter. And once she came out, I was just like, this is why what happened to us happened. Because she is perfect in every way. And that's a wonderful thing. And then I guess the other one I really want to mention, and I'm really trying not to get emotional on this video, but I had a feeling I was going to. But 4 years ago, I lost my little brother Timothy at 25. Cancer. 25. So young. Such a bright future ahead of him. He had a wife. And then just like that, it was over. I mean, but then once I realized, I mean, yeah, God put our entire family to the test with that, but in the midst of that trial, we found joy because we knew where he was going. We knew where he was going. He's been healed. Maybe not physically on this earth, but he's been healed. He has no pain anymore. He is up in heaven with Jesus. There's no better place to be than that. Do I miss him? Oh yeah, a lot more than I thought I would. And it's been tough on us. And every year, ever since it happened, we always tried to make a camping trip to Camp Lewisimo where we had his funeral. And it always happens at that time of the year. And it's just a wonderful time to be with family in midst of everything that happened. So I can find joy in that. I can find joy in that. So as I keep talking about this, joy is just, it's such an incredible feeling to have it and to know that I can have it. Even though the times are so tough. I mean, it's rough. There's financial hardship, which I've been dealing with for a while now, but in the midst of that, we still pulled through. We leaned on God more than we ever have. And then all of a sudden, just out of the blue, I got a promotion at work. Big promotion. And it was, I didn't even know how to respond when I heard it happen. Besides with excitement and happiness. And it just gave me the joy knowing that I can take care of my family. So I guess another thing that I want to mention about joy here is that every trial we go through is meant to shape and disciple us to become greater Christians and to teach us to rely more on God than the material things of this earth. That's the whole point of the trial. That's the whole point of the test. That's the whole point of joy, is finding that contentment and that happiness despite everything that is going on. There's always the hope and the knowledge that I know that my Savior loves me. He loves our family. He loves me. He's going to provide for us. He has provided for us this entire time. And all you can really do before you actually realize how to find that contentment and happiness is counting your blessings one by one, naming each one that the Lord has provided for you. Once you do that, you're going to be amazed on how much has actually been provided for you as a Christian. And that's something that I do every day. I count my blessings. I mean, despite of everything that's going on with COVID and the election that's coming up and just everything in general, the riots that have been going on, amidst all of that chaos, me as a Christian, I can find joy knowing that my Lord is coming. This is going to end. And when it ends, there's going to be no better place to be. I mean, I know where I'm going. It's going to be the New Jerusalem, a whole new kingdom. And I'm part of it. As a Christian, I'm part of it. So I'm just going to keep going on this whole subject right here. So the purpose of joy is to respond to external circumstances with inner contentment and satisfaction because we know that God will use them to accomplish His work in and through our lives. So that's why we get this feeling. Now, where does the feeling come from? Well, it's a choice. Joy is a choice. God Himself is the source of that joy. It's given to us through His Spirit, living in those who put their trust in Him. And as a Christian, that's what we're supposed to do, is we're supposed to rely on Him. We're supposed to trust in Him. And going forward, that's the best you can do. I mean, granted, there might be things that are going on that you don't even know how to handle. Give it to God. He'll take you through those trials. It might seem like He's going to be silent, but He's not. He's listening. He knows what you're going through. He's the one that put you through it. And there's a purpose behind it. There's a purpose behind it every time. There's always a purpose. And the sooner you realize that there's a purpose, the easier it is to have the feeling of joy. That's just how it is. 1 Peter 1 verse 6 states this. In this you rejoice, though now for a little while, if necessary, you have been grieved by various trials. As I have. Various trials. Whatever it may be, everybody goes through them. You can't tell me that you don't. You can't tell me you don't have any problems. Everybody has problems. It's a matter of how you deal with those problems. That's the big issue. Are we perfect? No, absolutely not. We rely way too heavily on the material things of this earth versus just going to God and just trusting in Him and hoping and praying and knowing that He'll carry you through it. So when you get that feeling, it's just an overflowing feeling, abundance filled, and exuberance filled, lively joy. This is the kind of joy that we can experience as Christians when faced with a variety of trials over time. It's amazing what we can do. And we can experience even more to the fullest when we take the initiative to actively consider that He has a definite purpose in mind for us. And whether you want to believe it or not, God always has a purpose. He always has a purpose, no matter what you're going through. And again, the sooner you realize that, the easier it is to get through these trials. Anyways, I'm gonna end up this. I'm gonna close this video out because it's a little bit longer than my usual ones. I've been trying to keep them around 10 minutes, but this one went 15. But anyways, if you like this video, go ahead and like it, share it, hit that subscribe button, and God bless you guys. Love you all.